Happy New Year and good morning from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm Ken Schwartz, and I've got a little bit of free legal advice for you. If you went out last night, New Year's Eve, and maybe had a few too many drinks, and then made the mistake of getting in your car to drive home, obviously that can lead to a whole bunch of things that you probably don't want to experience in life. But if you happen to head home and wrecked your car, and then decided that you better leave the area, that could have been maybe the right decision under the circumstances, or maybe the wrong decision. So let's say you stick around. That would seem to be the proper thing to do. But let's say you've been drinking. Obviously, you're going to get charged with a DWI. If anybody got hurt, it could be a very serious DWI. No telling. Let's say you make the decision to leave, and you think, let me just get out of here, and you do just that. Let's say that there's no other cars involved. Maybe you ran off the road, went down into a ditch, whatever. Okay, so you leave. Was that a good idea? Well, in Missouri, that was probably felony leaving the scene of an accident, maybe a misdemeanor, hard to say. But in that scenario, of course, the police, in order to charge you with that, have to prove that you were driving. Is it enough evidence to prove that it was your car? Not necessarily. Other people drive cars that are registered in other folks' names. You let your people drive your car. Maybe a car is in your name, but your kids drive it. Any number of scenarios, stolen car, whatever. But so what do you do in that scenario? Well, assuming that car is registered to you, the police are going to probably show up at your door or knock on it and say, hey, your car was found wrecked over here. What happened? Well, there's not much that you can say or do in that scenario that's going to help you. But there is, I should take that back. There's nothing you can say that's going to help you. But there is one thing that you can do, and that is shut the fuck up. You have the right to remain silent. There's no situation, no scenario, no circumstance where that advice, that constitutional right, is more appropriate. Be quiet. Don't say anything. What can they do? They're just going to leave? They might, but they might actually arrest you, because they can arrest you on suspicion of that crime, and then they can take you to the police station and they can question you. What are you going to do when they question you? Well, the first thing you're going to do when they read you your Miranda rights is say one very simple thing, and only one very simple thing, and that is, I want my lawyer. I'm not saying anything. I'm not going to sign that Miranda form, not doing anything. Where's my lawyer? I want my lawyer. Well, then what? Well, they can hold you for 24 hours in Missouri. And then at the end of 24 hours, you have to either be charged, at which point in time they'll set a bail, a bond amount, or they got to let you go. And that's what you do if you get into that situation. Wait it out. Don't want to sit in jail for 24 hours? Well, I get it. Nobody wants to. But, you're in the situation you're in because of only one person's actions, so you got to deal with it. And then you wait and see. How's that going to go? No telling. Law enforcement have some pretty interesting tools at their disposal these days. If they want to, they can pull camera footage. They can punch your license plate into a database that will show where your car was previously, before that accident, for almost any amount of time. Will they do that? That's pretty simple. They'll probably do that. What else could they do? Well, if they somehow can identify your cell phone, they could go to your cell phone company and then spend a little bit more time, search warrants, these sorts of things, to try to get some GPS data, location data on your phone. Does that prove it was you? No, not necessarily, but that's pretty strong evidence that it was you, right? Most people don't give their phone to other people. So would they do that on just a simple one-car accident? Probably not, but they could. But again, many of these leaving the scene cases that I have seen over the years involve somebody making a mistake, not an idiot. Somebody, I know a lot of good people that make some bad decisions, quick, snap decisions, maybe under the influence of alcohol, maybe not, who knows? But I need some more coffee. But it happens. So what do? You just stay quiet. You see what happens. What do you do with the insurance company? That's a question I get all the time. What do I tell my insurance company? Well, some people might say, well, I think I'll tell them the car got stolen. No, wrong answer. Bad idea. Don't do that. All that's going to do is create more problems. That's a lie. That's arguably insurance fraud. That's going to trigger all sorts of stuff. Then you're going to have to call the police because the insurance company, they're not going to be interested in a stolen car claim if you didn't report it to the police. So now what are you doing? Well, now you're committing the crime and making false statements to the police, and you're creating more problems. So you run into that. What's the best scenario to do with the insurance company? Nothing. What does that mean? That means walk away from the car. It's gone. Well, what about that? Well, potentially you've just lost a ton of money. Well, is that the price you pay for foolishness? Maybe. Can you not afford to do that? I don't know. That's up to you. But ideally, you do nothing and you just walk away from that whole thing and you learn from this bit of stupidity, this mistake. Uh, so, what's the moral of the story? Well, of course, the moral of the story is don't do this kind of shit, right? Maybe you need to grow up a little bit. A lot of younger people making these decisions. I get it. Um, you know, otherwise, the reality is that good people, good human beings, make mistakes sometimes. And if they do, you need to call an attorney who knows what he or she is doing. Don't call that family friend who does divorces. Don't call that family friend who does auto accidents or bank robberies, right? These lawyers might be the best, most well-intended people in the world, but they don't know what they're talking about with this area of the law. I've seen more lawyers giving advice outside of their area of expertise that gets people in trouble. And I'm just shaking my head, not because they gave the wrong advice, but because they didn't say, hey, you better call a criminal defense lawyer who knows what he or she is doing. Call somebody with some experience, right? So, don't do that. Call somebody that knows what they're doing, get some help, and try to get your ass out of trouble. Happy New Year.